An organised crime gang which was involved in a conspiracy to supply up to £72 million worth of heroin and coke transported into South Wales. On one occasion, a member of the gang was found in possession of 5 kilos of heroin after delivering the cash in a crane. Kerry Evans from Merthyr Tydfil was the orchestrator of the enterprise, which involved drug dealing on an almost industrial scale with huge amounts of money involved. Speaking at sentencing here at Cardiff Crown Court, the prosecutor Andrew Jones said it involved various people in different roles at different points of time and geographic locations who came together to engage in drug dealing on a colossal scale and vast amounts of money. There was a widespread distribution network between the north of England and Merthyr Tydfil, with members of the gang ranging from those at the top of the supply chain to the bottom. During the course of an investigation by a regional organised crime unit Tarian, almost 10 kilos of coke and 5 kilos of heroin was seized, with a potential street value of around £1 million. Prosecutor said there were people in place at many different levels, from couriers and dealers to those responsible for the larger, almost wholesale distribution and storage of Class A drugs, to those at the top of the enterprise responsible for the movement of millions of pounds worth of Class A drugs. Over the course of 12 months, Evans boasted he was involved in the sale of 600 kilos of Class A drugs, or a combination, and an estimated wholesale value of this amount between £13.8 and £19.2 million. If broken down into street deals, the estimated value of the drugs was between £64 to £72 million. Evans was described as a regional manager and was at the very top of the hierarchy in the gang. He was the focal point of contact of many of the drug deals and was in contact with the majority of the defendants in the case. Lloyd Jones from Merthyr Tydfil was a trusted member of the enterprise and provided logistical support. He was discovered in possession of 5 kilos of heroin in March 2023 by police after he had used a crane to make the pickup. The heroin was supplied by Jason and Heather Flanagan, who had travelled from their home in Bolton. They worked for an upstream supplier which supplied the drugs to Kerry Evans and delivered the drugs on behalf of their employers. You got Rick Griffiths, who's 39, was a trusted associate of Lloyd Jones and worked alongside him, handling cash and drugs. Christopher Ray from Merthyr Tydfil and was employed by the organised crime group as a courier and tasked with distributing controlled drugs throughout South Wales. He was also employed as a driver. Then you got Alex Smith, who was also based in Merthyr Tydfil. He acted as a courier and was observed attending addresses in Merthyr Tydfil, Bristol and Leeds as part of his duties. You got David Halliwell. He travelled to Merthyr Tydfil from Bolton on 2 occasions and accepted he delivered drugs for upstream suppliers. You got Claire James. She provided a safe house at her home in Merthyr Tydfil and assisted by weighing the drugs for onward distribution. You got Leon Owen was seen travelling from South Wales to London, where he picked up a bag from a jeweller's in Hatton Garden. He then travelled to Bolton, where the bag was exchanged with a woman, and he also travelled up to Bolton on a second occasion. You got Asim Saeed. He met with Kerry Evans and Ray in a blue Toyota Yaris, and he was later stopped by police in Reading, found in possession of £98,970 in cash. His phone was seized and 1,098 messages to members of the gang were discovered. Kerry Evans pleaded guilty to 5 counts of conspiracy to supply Class A drugs, and he was sentenced to 14 years and 5 months in prison. Got Lord Jones. He pleaded guilty to 3 counts of conspiracy to supply Class A drugs. He was sentenced to 8 years and 10 months in prison. Jason Flanagan and Heather Flanagan from Bolton both pleaded guilty to conspiracy to supply Class A drugs and offering to supply Class A and B drugs. Heather Flanagan was sentenced to 4 years and 3 months, and Jason Flanagan got 7 years and 8 months. Got Ricky Griffiths. He was sentenced to 7 years and 1 month. Christopher Ray. He was sentenced to 7 years and 6 months. Alex Davis got 7 years. David Halliwell sentenced to 6 years and 7 months. Leon Owen, he was sentenced to 7 years and 9 months. Claire James was sentenced to 7 years and 10 months. Asim Saeed, he was sentenced to 18 months. Following the hearing, Detective Inspector Vinnie Easton from Tarian Regional Organised Crime Unit said, "We welcome the sentences given to these men and women for their role in smuggling and selling very significant amounts of Class A drugs in South Wales. This thorough investigation uncovered a major dealing conspiracy and is a great example of the detailed work carried out to combat this kind of organised crime. Illegal drugs have no place in our society, and offenders in this operation were part of an organised criminal gang who caused harm and misery in our communities through the supply of these illicit drugs. And in this next news story, a man from Birmingham has been sentenced to life with a minimum term of 16 years in prison for the murder of Daniel Rym in December. Daniel, who's 30 years old, died in a property in Trey Forest on the evening of Sunday, December the 17th. Following an investigation led by South Wales Police Major Crime Investigation Team, Kieran Ashton Carter, who's 22 from Birmingham, was found guilty of murder. There's another person, Amy Jones, found perverting the course of justice, and Chad Joy was found guilty of assisting an offender. Carter was sentenced to life with a minimum term of 16 years and 89 days. Jones was sentenced to 10 months suspended for 24 months, and Joy was sentenced to 9 months suspended for 18 months. Detective Superintendent Paul Rake said just after 7:50 p.m. on Sunday, December the 17th, we received a report from the Welsh Ambulance Service that Daniel was not breathing in an address. He had sustained fatal stab wounds to his thigh, which proved fatal. This led to a challenging and complicated investigation involving specialist resources from the force in order to identify, apprehend and prosecute all those connected with the death of Daniel Rym. Today's sentences shows the intent on committing crime that no matter how many steps you take to frustrate an investigation, we will not give up. My thoughts remain with the family and friends of Daniel who have had to deal with a terrible loss, and I'd also like to thank Daniel's family for their understanding and support during the course of this investigation. I just want to say rest in peace, Daniel. My condolences go out to your family. And in this next news story, a man who claimed self-defense following a fatal stabbing has been convicted of murder after detectives uncovered CCTV which disproved his claim. Sabin Manda of Ealing was found guilty of murdering 27-year-old Badram Lully on Thursday, the 26th of September at the Inner London Crown Court. The pair had been involved in a dispute over drugs on 11th of March 2024, Amanda claimed he attacked Badram in self-defense after fearing for his own life. However, following the incidents, he went off the grid, claiming he was worried about possible retaliation. In the meantime, detectives had secured CCTV footage which captured the attack and showed it was unprovoked, and after using various forensic techniques, Manda was located and arrested. Inspector Adam Guttridge, Specialist Crime South, said the investigation team worked long and hard to locate footage of this incident that helped disprove Sabin Manda's claims of self-defense. This was an unprovoked attack, and Manda will now face many years in prison to consider the consequences of his actions. I can only hope his conviction brings some comforts to Badram's family. So Manda was remanded in custody and is going to be sentenced on the 11th of October. Once again, I just want to say rest in peace to the victim, and my condolences go out to your family. But guys, there's a number of stories coming out from the streets of the UK. It's your boy GC. Keep it locked, keep it real.